Sri Basavanna, one who established Anubhava Mantapa, the first parliament of the world. Basava, also called Basaveshwara and Basavanna, was in the 12th century an Indian philosopher, saint poet, social reformer in the Shiva-focused bhakti movement during the reign of the Kalyani Chalukya Kalachuri dynasty. Basava was active during the rule of both dynasties but reached the peak of his influence during the rule of King Bijala II in Karnataka, India. Basavanna spread social awareness through his poetry, popularly known as vachanas. He rejected gender or social discrimination, superstitions, and rituals, but introduced Ishtalinga necklace with an image of the Shiva Lingam to every person regardless of their birth to be a constant reminder of one's bhakti, devotion to Shiva. A strong promoter of ahimsa, he also condemned human and animal sacrifices. As the chief minister of his kingdom, he introduced new public institutions such as the Anubhava Mantapa or the Hall of Spiritual Experience, the world's first parliament established in 12th century which welcomed men and women from all socio-economic backgrounds to discuss spiritual and mundane questions of life in open. His teachings and philosophy transcend all boundaries and address the universal and eternal. Basavanna was a great humanitarian who advocated a new way of life, in which divine experience was at the center of life and where caste, gender, and social distinctions carried no special importance. The cornerstone of his movement was a firm monotheistic belief in God as the absolute and universal supreme self, identified as Lord Shiva, and the equality and dignity of all individual beings irrespective of their social and gender status. A true visionary who was born ahead of his time, he envisioned a society based on sound religious, moral, and spiritual values, encompassing one and all. Besides serving the people as a great reformer and a great mystic, he also served as the prime minister of the southern Kalachuri Empire in South India and originated a literary revolution by introducing Vachana Sahitya. Vachana is equal to sayings, prose. Many great yogis and mystics of the time joined his movement, enriching it with the essence of divine experience in the form of vachanas that define in a way of looking at God and life. Basava's path later gave birth to a new tradition, Sampradaya, which became popular in the south as the Lingavanta Dharma or Lingayat movement. Madaras and Madalambe were parents of Basavanna. Madaras was the town president of Bagewadi. Nagamma was the daughter of Madaras and Madalambe. After her birth, Madalambe did not bear children for long period. She worshipped Nandikeshwara and bore Basavanna. Nagamma was elder to Basavanna by 12 years. When Basavanna was born to the couple, the newborn baby was still without any movement. The baby did not cry even. The parents were surprised and were worried. In this situation, godly saint Jataveda Muni, Ishanya Guru, accidentally happened to visit Madarasa's house. He welcomed the Guru with devotion. Further, the Guru pronounced Panchakshari hymn in the ears of the baby and called, "Come on, Basava, come on." Hearing the call, the baby was awakened, moved sidewise, opened the eyes, and smiled at the Guru and the parents. Parents placed the child at the feet of the Guru and uttered, "We dedicate the child to your grace." The child was named Basava as pronounced by Guru. The boy Basavanna grew in the company of his elder sister Nagamma all the time. Nagamma was not only sister of Basavanna, but she was the catalyst of his revolutionary ideas and molded him for the mission in his life. It would be proper to call her as his first Guru. That was a dark age for women. Nagamma could not advance herself with her thoughts. She prompted her brother, who was like a ball of fire, to implement her aim. With Linga in his neck, blessed by the Guru at the time of his birth, he ran away from Bagewadi. He joined Gurukula at Kudala Sangam. He did not like to stay with the people floating in the stagnant water of blind beliefs and immoral customs and had migrated to Sangama. Basavanna spent about 10 years in the splendid company of the Guru Ishanya. He had completed study of Vedas, Puranas, Shastras, etc. He had thorough knowledge of Sanskrit and Kannada languages. His attractive personality, his nature of selfless service, his attitude of receiving everyone with respect were attracting the mass towards him like magnet attracts iron. Basavanna overruled caste system. His bhakti doctrine denounces the notion of high-born and low-born. All are equal, enjoying equal religious rights. Basavanna advocated for equal social and religious right for women. Basavanna's concept was God is impersonal and supernatural power. God is as large as universe. Different religions call God by different names. Basavanna passionately held the conviction of one God. Names many, God is but one. Kaya Kave Kailas, work is worship, is the slogan of Basavanna. Since hundreds of years, lower castes were subjected to suppression by upper castes. They were ill treated and were serving the high born only for 2 square meals of the day. The message of social reform, aired by Basavanna, awakened their hopes. They felt like birds let out of the cage into the free air. They surrounded Basavanna to follow the path showed by him. Lakhs of people were visiting Basavanna's house every day. His house was called Shebane, Great House. His teachings is embodied in simple verse form known as vachanas, composed in common man's language Kannada. Kudala Sangamadeva is the proper noun of the vachanas of Basavanna. Basavanna's vision of faith awakened the hearts of millions of the followers to the new conception of God. They felt spiritual fulfillment. His teachings assumed the magnitude of powerful movement and became irresistible for all those who had turned away from old faith. Basavanna, through Sharana Sanskriti, transformed the entire society. Sharana is somebody who had surrendered oneself to the will of the Lord. For any popular work being done, there would always be people to criticize it. They criticize for the sake to criticize. Some people from upper caste feared that their supremacy in the society would be lost by the social reform program of Basavanna. They made false allegations about Basavanna to King Bijala. Bijala was an ambitious person and egoistic man. He could not tolerate the popularity of his minister. He desired people in his kingdom should praise only him, nobody else. Basavanna may be his brother-in-law, then what? He immediately took action when he received complaint against Basavanna for misappropriating funds from the treasury. But Sri Basavanna and Sharanas did not sack by the order of the king and continued work of social reform. Basavanna celebrated an intercaste marriage which was held between an upper and lower caste. The people who criticized it were already angry and waiting for a suitable opportunity to finish off Basava movement. They aimed to push him out from Kalyan. Kalyan should be cleaned from Sharanas and Vachana literature should be destroyed. A large delegation approached King Bijala and told him that Basavanna's popularity is growing fast day by day. People may revolt against you to dethrone and he may replace you. Better you must take precaution now. Please deprive ministership from Basavanna and deport him from Kalyan. This added fuel to the fire. Bijala called Basavanna to his court, asked him to resign from the ministership and to quit from Kalyan forthwith. Basavanna was not deterred by the arrogant order of Bijala. He lost no time to remove the crown of ministership and placed it before Bijala. He thanked him for his cooperation till then. He left Kalyan straight from the palace of Bijala without informing any of his associates, even his wives. 12 years of stay of Basavanna in Kalyan came to an end. Basavanna had left from Kalyana abruptly. He was undecided about where to go. He came to Kuda Sangama to call on his guru. To his misfortune, his guru was no more. He had already merged with Linga. Basavanna was in great distress. The man who was among lakhs of people till now was lonely now. He had left Kalyan without informing even his wives. He felt very sorry. After Sri Basavanna left, the situation in Kalyana had become dreadful. The eyes of his close associates were cut removed to make them blind, and they were tied to the leg of an elephant and dragged till death. Both were executed in a brutal manner. Sharana's community was already in great distress by sudden separation of Basavanna. They felt great trauma when their associates were executed brutally. They could not further tolerate when they came to know about the efforts to destroy Vachana literature. They revolted. Bijala was murdered. Sharanas were accused of the king's murder. Bijala's son ordered his military to kill Sharanas. Kalyan was looking like battlefield. One of associate narrated the situation in Kalyan to Basavanna, who was stunned on hearing the tragic news. He was under great shock to hear the murder of Bijala, who was his friend apart from being his brother-in-law. Atrocities on Sharanas and the efforts to destroy Vachana literature. He could not tolerate the catastrophe. There was nobody around him to console. He could not do anything. Pronouncing Saku Madai Thande Lokadattavanindu, O God, please end my role in this world. He sat for meditation, rejecting food and water at the place of confluence of Krishna and Malaprabha rivers. he never got up again and left this world. Some selfish hypocrites were responsible for the loss of a precious life. If Bijala had cooperated with Basavanna in his brave efforts to reform the society, caste system would have been totally eradicated in Karnataka. Bijala's name would have been recorded in the history with Sri Basavanna if he had dared to advise a few people to mend their behavior, and Karnataka would have been a role model state in the whole country without any upper lower caste system.